we decided for our honeymoon that it would be a disconnected honeymoon, meaning no computers, no cell phones. And so, again, no phones. But at the time, Charlie's assistant gave Charlie a bat phone for emergency.
I'm a strong female, and you know that.
This is, let's do this.
What was it like dating Erica? Very fun. I mean, she's incredibly loyal, a great sport about traveling.
So Erica Kirk just admitted on camera that Charlie brought what she's calling an emergency bat phone on their honeymoon, and the internet is absolutely spiraling right now. Here's the setup Erica gave everyone. No phones, no computers, a completely disconnected honeymoon. Sounds romantic, right? Just the two of them, alone, building their future together. Except there's one tiny little exception. A secret phone, supposedly loaded with emergency contacts only. So, Erica shared this story while accepting an honorary doctorate from Hillsdale College on behalf of herself and Charlie. She said she looked over during a honeymoon workout because apparently that's just something people do the second they arrive, and noticed Charlie wasn't listening to music. Turns out he was secretly finishing Hillsdale College online lectures while lifting weights on the emergency phone. Erica told this story like it was some adorable little honeymoon moment. But a lot of people immediately stopped at the emergency phone detail, and the more you sit with it, the stranger it gets. Who brings a secret phone on their honeymoon? This sounds like something straight out of a spy thriller. And let's be honest, Erica always tells the longest, most drawn-out stories about Charlie that somehow go nowhere. Never funny, never heartwarming, just there.
How long have you been married, and when did you know it was time to get married?
We've been married since 2021.
So now this bat phone story drops, and people are asking, does any of this actually add up? Then there's this. Candace recently revealed on her show that Charlie saved himself for marriage. According to Candace, Charlie tried dating another girl before Erica, but it didn't work out. Then Tyler Boyer connected Charlie with Erica, which already seemed strange since Erica was 5 years older, far more experienced, and on the surface, didn't seem like his type at all. But somehow, she was into him. And by the way, Candace didn't expose anything new here. Charlie himself previously said that Erica was his first. There's actual footage of Charlie talking about intimacy before marriage. And right away, something doesn't add up. Charlie publicly believed in saving yourself for marriage, yet he ended up with a woman who had a well-documented dating history before him. And that's not a rumor. We know Erica was dating Cabot Phillips just months before her first date with Charlie in 2017. In a photo Cabot shared in September 2017, he referred to himself and Erica as a couple. So this isn't speculation, these are actual receipts. Now, you could argue that maybe Erica also saved herself and just dated without being intimate.
When we got married and we went to our honeymoon the next day, we decided for our honeymoon that it would be a disconnected honeymoon, meaning no computers, no cell phones, just being able to pour into each other, plan out what our family life would look like, what type of parents we want to be, what type of spouse we want to be, so really just pour into each other. And so, again, no phones, but at the time, Charlie's assistant gave Charlie a bat phone for emergencies, so there was only emergency phone numbers on this phone, nothing else.
But here's where that gets hard to believe. Before Cabot, there was former professional baseball player Tyler Massey, who Erica dated somewhere around 2014 to 2015. A mutual friend posted a photo in October 2014 with the hashtag #CuteCouple. And Tyler Massey, also known as JT Massey, is the same person who appeared with Erica in an audition tape for the reality show Amazing Race. And what Erica says to JT in that tape, it raises serious eyebrows. So here's where it lands. Either Erica didn't save herself for marriage, or she wasn't upfront with Charlie about her past. Or Charlie knew everything and still married her, which would mean he quietly walked back everything he preached publicly about intimacy before marriage. You decide which version sounds most believable. But circling back to that honeymoon story, it still doesn't sit right. A bat phone with emergency contacts only, yet Charlie somehow managed to log into Hillsdale College lectures on it? Strange enough. But what's even stranger, this is a man who waited his entire life for marriage, and the first thing he does on his honeymoon is head straight to the gym to lift weights while streaming online classes on a secret phone. And that's the thing about Erica's stories, they're never funny, never heartwarming, and they almost never land with the crowd either. Every single time she opens her mouth about Charlie, something feels off. Like she's always one step ahead of a story that hasn't broken yet, carefully wrapping strange details in a cute little bow to make them sound innocent. So why bring up the bat phone at all?
So when we arrive, we go straight to the gym, because that's what we did. And I'm on one side of the gym, Charlie's on the other, and then all of a sudden, I was thinking he pulled out the bat phone. And I was like, okay, maybe he's gonna put on some music. He loved classic rock. I was like, maybe he's gonna put on some music. So I'm on the treadmill, he's over in the weights, and all of a sudden I hear Dr. Arn's voice coming from the side of the room. And so I walk over to him, and I was like, baby, what are you listening to? He goes, I know. He was like, I'm almost done. He's like, I have to finish just a few more lectures from Dr. Arn. I have a few more certificates I have to give for my online courses at Hillsdale. We're almost there. I can't skip him. I was like, baby, you do what you got to do. I'm here for it.
Why was that one specific detail so important to mention publicly at a college graduation ceremony of all places? Something about this feels deeply scripted. Like Erica knew a detail about that phone or about the people Charlie was in contact with was about to surface, and she wanted to be the one to shape the narrative first. That's not a small thing. That's a calculated move. Think about it this way. If you went on your honeymoon and your spouse snuck in a secret phone to finish online lectures, would your first instinct be to tell that story years later at a public event? Most people would either laugh it off privately or feel a little hurt by it. But Erica chose to highlight it publicly, in front of an audience, almost like she needed people to hear that version of events before another version had a chance to surface. And this connects directly to something that got buried way too fast in the media cycle. Reports started circulating that Charlie sent messages to several people shortly before September 10th, telling them he feared for his life. That alone should have stopped everything. That alone should have been the headline that never left the front page. But somehow, it faded.
He was trying to date this girl that he was totally obsessed with. I liked her a lot, that the girl that he was chasing, and I knew that she was going to let him down because it was very obvious that she wasn't into him.
Yeah.
And he was heartbroken about it. And so when Erica, then Tyler Boyer, sets up this, like, I have this person for you to meet, and he comes and he's like, oh, she's a bit older. And initially he was like, I'm just going to use her to try to like get so-and-so jealous or whatever, because this was like the first date or whatever. And then she was a bit more persistent and giving him the godly spiel, and the messages, and I'm just going through our messages, like, look, this is maybe what God wanted me to have. And, obviously my first instinct as a woman was that she was older than me. And I just thought, that's kind of weird that she would be into Charlie. Charlie's quite young in those ways. He's an absolute genius. He's got so much going for him, but like, he's young in those ways. Like, I'm like telling this kid to like wear a suit that fits him, like he was a virgin when he got married.
And here's where the story gets even messier. Candace came forward and said she believes Erica repeatedly lied about those messages. Not once, not twice, multiple times, the story changed. When the claim first surfaced publicly, Erica denied it completely. Flat out said it didn't happen. Then, under pressure, she confirmed that Charlie did in fact send something, but she specified it was through Telegram, a messaging app known for encrypted, disappearing conversations. Convenient, right? But then Candace dug deeper and revealed that the messages were actually sent through iMessage, not Telegram, and that this was verified through Dan Flood's phone. So now the platform changed, the story changed, and the timeline changed. There's actual footage of Candace walking through all of this step by step, and it's hard to watch without your jaw dropping. So let's line this up clearly. First, the messages didn't exist. Then they existed but were on Telegram. Then they were actually on iMessage and verified by a third party. That's not a simple mix-up. That's not someone misremembering a small detail under stress. That's a story that kept shifting every single time new evidence threatened to contradict the previous version.
I do not think you should have for marriage. I know that's a provocative take. I think it's wholly, and by the way, it's not just a religious take. I actually think that if you introduce into dating, then all of a sudden there's kind of like a dilution of what exactly will be the ultimate physical crescendo of marriage.
And that pattern, that specific pattern of deny, then redirect, then reluctantly confirm, is something people are paying very close attention to right now. Now here's the question that nobody in mainstream media seems to be asking out loud. Why does Erica even have Charlie's phone? The investigation is ongoing. That phone is evidence. In any serious high-profile case, personal devices belonging to the individual at the center of the story get confiscated immediately. That's not optional. That's procedure. And yet Erica has publicly claimed that the authorities never even took the phone. They just handed it over to her without going through it first, without examining it, without logging it as evidence. Does that sound normal to you? Because to a lot of people following this story closely, that detail is one of the most alarming parts of everything that's come out so far. A phone that potentially contains messages about someone fearing for their life, messages sent in the days leading up to one of the most talked about incidents in recent memory, and that phone just gets handed to the spouse? No investigation, no chain of custody, nothing? Either the official process completely failed here, or the official story isn't the whole story. And both of those options should make people deeply uncomfortable. Now let's bring it all the way back to that honeymoon bat phone story, because with everything we just laid out, it hits very differently now. When Erica first told that story, a lot of people rolled their eyes and moved on. Another long-winded Erica anecdote that goes nowhere. But a growing number of people online started rewinding the tape and looking at it from a completely different angle. And what they found is worth talking about.
Deep in there. Give them a cleavage. People want cleavage. Showcase it.
Sells, babe.
Sells. That's me.
That's against me.
It's not. It's within the confines of marriage.
The speculation picking up serious traction now is this: what if Erica flipped the story? What if she wasn't just telling a quirky honeymoon memory? What if she took something that was actually about her and reframed it as being about Charlie? Because when you look at everything we know, the shifting stories, the phone that never got confiscated, the messages that kept changing platforms, a version of events where Erica was the one with the emergency phone, starts to feel less like a conspiracy theory and more like a serious question that deserves a serious answer. One user on X laid it out plainly, writing, "I feel like she's telling on herself without realizing it, and she was the one with the bat phone for evil purposes. Also would make more sense if she were the one uninterested in having an intimate relationship because she never loved him. She was there to do a job. That's it." Flipping the story to make it about Charlie is only going to get attention because no one's interested in her. But it was actually her story, and it was an evil one. And then someone else added bluntly, "Erica Kirk always was a military honeypot operation." Now, those are strong claims, and we're not here to tell you what to believe. But we are here to ask why these questions keep coming up, why they keep gaining traction, and why the official answers keep falling short every single time someone pushes back with actual receipts. The honeypot theory, for those unfamiliar, isn't something that just lives on the fringes of the internet. It has a documented history in real-world intelligence and political operations. The basic idea is that someone gets close to a target romantically, professionally, personally, not out of genuine connection, but as part of a larger operation. And the details that make people raise an eyebrow here aren't small. They're stacking up. The age gap, the rushed connection set up through a mutual contact, the stories that don't quite add up, the phone that never got examined, the messages that kept changing, the public anecdotes that seem designed to preemptively explain things away before questions even get asked. And here's another layer that people aren't talking about enough: Erica's delivery. Watch any clip of her telling these stories and pay attention not just to what she says, but how she says it. There's no real emotion, no warmth, no spontaneity. It's almost like watching someone read from a script they've rehearsed enough times to make it look casual, but not quite enough to make it feel real. And the crowds around her seem to feel it too, because the reactions are almost always flat. Polite, but flat. Compare that to how people usually talk about someone they genuinely loved and lost. There's rawness there. There's weight. There are moments where the words don't come easily because the feelings are still too big. None of that shows up in Erica's public appearances, and people notice that. People have been noticing that for a while now, and the bat phone story just gave everyone a fresh reason to say it out loud again. What makes all of this even more significant is the timing. Erica chose to tell this story at a very public, very official event, the Hillsdale College Honorary Doctorate Ceremony. This wasn't a casual interview or an offhand social media post. This was a prepared speech at a formal occasion in front of an audience that was specifically connected to one of the institutions Charlie was most publicly associated with. That choice of venue is not random. That's a statement. Whether intentional or not, Erica planted this bat phone detail in a setting that tied it directly to Charlie's legacy and reputation. And that framing matters, because here's what it does. It makes Charlie look dedicated. It makes him look like someone so passionate about education and conservative values that he couldn't even put down his studies on his honeymoon. It's designed to make you feel admiration for him, and by extension, trust in the story Erica is telling. But once you start pulling on the thread, once you ask who else was on that emergency contact list, once you ask why that phone was never examined by investigators, once you ask why the messages Charlie sent kept changing platforms every time Erica opened her mouth about them, the whole carefully constructed image starts to crack. And the cracks are getting harder to ignore. Every new detail that comes out, every inconsistency that surfaces, every shift in the official story adds another layer to a picture that looks less and less like a grieving spouse trying to preserve her husband's memory, and more like someone who is very carefully managing a narrative that hasn't fully unraveled yet. People online are not letting this go, and honestly, why would they? When the questions are this specific, when the receipts are this documented, and when the story keeps changing this many times, the public has every right to keep asking. The bat phone, the iMessage versus Telegram contradiction, the phone that never got taken as evidence, the fear messages, the honeypot speculation. None of these are random. They all connect. And right now, more people than ever are connecting the dots. So where does this leave us? It leaves us with a story that is far from over. It leaves us with a public figure whose every public statement seems to raise more questions than it answers. And it leaves us with a growing number of people who are done accepting the polished, rehearsed version of events and are instead demanding something that actually holds up under pressure: the truth. The layers on this story keep building, and nothing about any of it is adding up. If this has you thinking, drop everything you've got in the comments below. We genuinely want to know what you think is really going on here, because the conversation happening in the comments on this topic has been one of the most eye-opening things to read through. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video when we drop one. Like this one, if it gave you something to think about, share it with someone who needs to see it, and we will see you in the next one.